Hey everyone, this is Once Bitten here at the Battle Report. So this is Game 5, the final game of Southern Assault 2015, my Bretonians versus a Dark Elf army. It's funny how tournaments work like this. In 5 games, I had 2 games against demons, 2 games against Dark Elves, and then 1 against Lizardmen. It's funny how that happens sometimes. So this is against Alex. I've never played him before. He's a really, really top-notch player, always at the top tables. We are on table 2. And among the top, I want to say 4 players, maybe top 5 players, it's really close. So kind of exciting going into it. A good place to be the last game of the tournament. Starting on the left, he's got 2 units of Dark Riders. Now in the rightmost unit, he has his General. I don't have his list anymore, but I know he has Cloak of Twilight. And other than that, I don't know. But he's got like a 1-up armor save, and I think a ward save. There's a Hydra behind the house. He's got a unit of Sisters of Slaughter, and with them he has his Cauldron of Blood, BSB. He also has a Master on a Pegasus, and he has a Spellcaster that right now might be with the Sisters of Slaughter. Yeah, and it's a level 4 Lore of Heavens. He's got a bunch of Dark Shards, another Hydra, and then another unit of Fastcav. So, on my far right, I decided to bunch my knights up on the right, and everything else, of course, is in the middle. And I was kind of thinking, if my peasants can whittle down the Sisters of Slaughter unit at all, that would be fantastic. I just really need to be able to double charge that unit if I'm ever going to get it. And my thinking is maybe I can pick off small points here and there, and then gang up on the big unit sometime at the end of the game. I can tell you, though, that as soon as deployment was done, I really, really didn't like it. I didn't like the situation one bit. So on the far right is my unit that has a +1 movement, and they have the Virtue of Impetuous Knight in there. In the middle unit, they've got the Standard of Discipline with my General. He's got a 1-up rerollable, heroic killing blow, and always strikes first. Got my BSB with a 1-up rerollable. Then I've got my Knight Errant unit, and they've got a level 4 Lore of Heavens. You can see my unit. Let's see, up front middle, vanguarded up, is 5 Peg Knights. I've got 16 archers here in the middle of the table. Then I've got my Grail Reliquae with a bunch of Battle Pilgrims there in the middle. Trebuchet, more archers, and then 3 Grail Knights. And really the 3 Grail Knights, I figure they might be able to handle the fast cav, or at least keep the fast cav at bay from just getting behind my lines and just wrecking all this stuff. And other than that, not a whole lot in his list that I'm willing to throw those Grail Knights against. So, Dark Elves, of course, go first. And, I should have known he was going to do this, because I actually have... when did I see this before? I think we played a practice game. Yeah, I've played this guy before. We played a practice game once when I was just playtesting a list. And he has this thing on the left where he moves his General, which had vanguarded up with Fast Cav, moves him up, and then moves his Master on Pegasus behind him. And so now his Master and Pegasus can charge my Trebuchet. There's really not a whole lot I can do about it. I could lob a rock on his head and hope to get lucky. Other than that, if I charge the General, he's going to hold up anything and eventually win. It's just really, I think, bad placement on my part. Here on the right, he's got a unit of Fast Cav going around that impassable terrain. I'm not overly concerned about that, but again, I'm thinking, I could have maybe put a unit that could shoot around the impassable terrain and keep this from happening. But hindsight's 20/20. I mean, basically, Dark Elves are just such a highly mobile army, and I'm frustrated with myself because a lot of times when I play them, I allow them to get around my flanks, and it's just a matter of poor placement. And here's on the far left, his Fast Cav over here. Their plan is just to hang back just out of charge reach of my Grail Knights and just shoot at them, because if you get enough hits, I'll fail enough 2-up armor saves. And after his first round of shooting, I do lose 1 Grail Knight. Go to Bretonnia turn 1. I reposition the Grail Knights a little bit, but there's really not a whole lot I know what to do with them. Otherwise, I move things up, as you can see. I think my Peg Knights tried to charge his Dark Shard unit. Is a long charge. I wasn't really worried about it if I failed, because I was still in decent position otherwise. Trebuchet lands on his Cauldron of Blood. He gets his ward save. I kill a few Sisters of Slaughter. I think my archers shoot at him and do a few wounds. Go to Dark Elf turn 2. So yeah, his master charges my trebuchet. His general charges my archers, and I forgot why, but I fled with them and they fled off the table. He redirected to my trebuchet, and it looks like that. And Lord of Heavens gets a comet right down, right down. Really, not a whole lot my knights can do to avoid that. My hope is either that it just doesn't land for a while and I get away from it, or that it just rolls really low on the number of hits. You can see on the top he pulled his fast cav that was on my right flank, pulled him back out front to redirect the unit that has the potential of charging all the way across the board. They're movement 9. They get an extra d6 with Swift Stride already, so they have an average charge of like 21 inches. Between shooting and magic, he did 3 wounds to my Peg Knights, so they're down to 4, but still strong enough to do what they usually need to do. And he shoots yet again at my Grail Knights and kills another one. I don't know what the odds are of that, but I'm sure that's probably about right. And after combat, yeah, the trebuchet's dead. He takes both of his characters and just reforms. He completely has my left flank. And so we go to Bretonnia turn 2. I declare a charge with my Grail Knight at one of his units of Dark Shards. He does a stand and shoot, and of course kills my Grail Knight. Utterly freaking worthless. Otherwise, my Peg Knights charged the flank of his fat Dark Riders. It looks like that. He was right in front of my fast charging unit, but I didn't want to charge with him because that would have blown my Virtue of Impetuous guy, and having him on the table makes for a really long charge, so I didn't want to do that. Happy enough for the Peg Knights to fulfill this role. And let's see, if you look at the bottom, yeah, so on my turn 1, I had a Dimensional Cascade, some stupid spell. It was, I think 2 or 3 dice at giving the bowman reroll of 1s, which didn't do anything at all. Blew up most of my Knight Errant unit. So on this turn, I put my Prophetess in with the big unit of knights, and then the comet goes off and takes the Knight Errant unit down to just 2 knights remaining. They hurt another unit of knights, but for the most part, the knight units are okay, except for the Knights Errant, and they are totally worthless for this game. So now I just want to conserve their points. After combat, the Peg Knights are able to beat the Dark Riders, but of course they can't run them down because this is Southern Assault 2015, and I can't run anybody down in combat. We go to Dark Elves turn 3. His general is behind my lines. I really, really don't like that. He has the power to charge in any of my units and just hold them in place, and that's the death of me, because then he can just walk his Sisters of Slaughter right up. So this is what I'm worried about here. He has his masters charge the flank of my peasants. I'm not worried about that, whatever. But he has a Hydra up top that could charge the 1 unit of knights and more than likely hold them in place. He has his general at the bottom that could charge my bottommost unit of knights, hold them in place. Then he could just walk a Sisters of Slaughter right up and then get a free charge next time, and there's nothing I can do about it. My opponent is in an excellent, excellent position, and I am really, really, really not. So there's the master. His Dark Riders, of course, rally. You see my Peg Knights are down to 2 because then just every little round, some kind of shooting or combat, they're taking some wounds. After combat, he wins. I stick and I reform. He reformed first into the woods. I reformed just so I'd have the best chance possible of remaining steadfast. And we go to Bretonnia turn 3. So the long charging unit charges his crossbows. He flees off the table. I really didn't want to fail charge that direction, so I redirected to the Hydra. And I didn't know if I wanted to make that or not. If I failed it, I would have just been there in the middle of the table. His Sisters of Slaughter probably could not have charged him. His Hydra, of course, still could. But I make the charge. And the problem here is I can't get out of sight of his Sisters of Slaughter. There's just nothing I can do. If I overrun, I'll hit the house. Unless the Hydra does a bunch of wounds to me, that's not going to be enough. So it's just not a great situation. In hindsight, I don't see. It seems like it'd be better not to do it. But at the same time, I don't know a wonderful course of action with my position. Again, what my fear was he was going to charge each of these units, hold them in place, and then bring the Sisters of Slaughter in to finish the deal. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. There's that. No, the Sisters of Slaughter countercharge. My hope is that even though he'll certainly win combat, probably break me, that I'll have enough that I can get away and then hopefully rally at some point. Easier said than done. Peg Knights rinse and repeat on this Dark Rider unit on the right. My Knights Errant, they're just trying to get away. I'd really like to hide them behind this impassable terrain and just save their points, and at the end of the game rush them forward to get in his deployment zone. With this tournament, that gives you an extra battle point at the end. And after combat, yeah, the Hydra doesn't do much. Well, we kill it. So we kill the Hydra, so I wasn't worried. Of course, it didn't do any wounds back. I can't get out of line of sight of the Sisters of Slaughter, so we just reform, and that's all we can do. The Master kills just a bunch of these bowmen. He really would have had to have only killed 2 for me to still be steadfast, and that just wasn't going to happen. So I wasn't going to be steadfast regardless, so bowmen are running, and Master is freed up, and that's a problem because that allows him to be a redirector on my opponent's next turn. Let's see. Yeah, so the Peg Knights win this round, and we chase after the Dark Riders. They bounce off the table. The problem is I bounce up against that impassable terrain, can't go over it. You don't fly on a pursue move, so that means that his Hydra can countercharge on his turn. If he charges, I can flee, and I need to roll I want to say an 8 or less, maybe even a 9 or less, to stay on the table. But with Swift Stride, that's not necessarily, a foregone conclusion. We go to Dark Elves turn 4. Overall, it looks like this. Yeah, he charged, I fled, I rolled whatever I needed to roll to go off the table, so that was not wonderful. The Sisters of Slaughter charge into this unit. This is not going to be pretty. Those things, they can do some damage. And look at that. So there are 2 comets in this place. So remember the one that was there a long time ago? He has had 1 comet go off. He's had another comet that's now at 3 tokens, and a second comet on the table at 1 token. And I've got that unit just right there. I really need to get they need to move quickly. Yeah, after combat, he breaks my Knight unit, and of course, even though I have Swift Stride and he doesn't, he runs him down. At this tournament, I swear, I can't catch anybody, and I can't get away from combat in any of them. Probably doesn't matter, because if I'd gotten away, I don't remember how many guys I had left, but it certainly was very possible that I was going to be rallying on double ones. So whatever, but you never know. Let's see, he had 1 unit fast cav charge the flank of my Grail Reliquae, and actually did, I think, 3 wounds to him, so way to go, peasants. Go to Bretonnia turn 4. Take my General's unit and charge the Master. God, I'm really hoping that comet doesn't go off. I don't love where I'm at with that. Hopefully I can kill the guy and reform, and I might be in decent shape. So after combat, I can't kill him, so I decide to go ahead and pursue him because I need points. I don't have a ton of points this game. I have like the crossbows, a unit or maybe now a unit or 2 of fast cav, but just not a lot of points. So I pursue him, and we roll just a ton and go all the way in this lake. And we're treating the lake like a river, by the way. The Grail Reliquae kills the last of the fast cav. I thought that was kind of cool. Here's the problem. His general is set up to charge the rear of my general's unit. I won't get ranks. So if he charges in, he'll have a charge and a rear. He's at the combat res 3. And I'm starting out with 2. I'll have 2 banners, and that's it. And his general is tough enough that I will not put my general in combat with him, because when he charges, he gets Killing Blow and does D3 wounds. And I think, he has like the +2 strength sword. So I just can't chance that. So he's going to kill my champion and maybe get some overkill. So he's going to win combat. I'm starting at leadership 10 minus whatever he wins by. Do I take the chance, or do I flee the charge? If I flee the charge, I think, now that in hindsight, I think when I look at his deployment pictures, I think I'm outside deployment, so probably I can't go off the table. But the choice is, do I stick, or do I charge, or do I flee? And that's a tough decision to make. If I flee, I'll probably rally, and it's basically conceding the game. I would get a loss, but it wouldn't be a huge loss, but it would be a loss. Or I can let him charge my rear, reform on my turn. When he's not charging that second round of combat, I'm very willing to put my general into combat with him. I can probably, I think, maybe kill his general. I can use the Grail Reliquae to slow down the Sisters of Slaughter on my last turn. I can probably charge a Sisters of Slaughter unit. So do I go for the safe loss, or do I gamble a little bit and go for the win? And if you ever watch my battle reports, you know I have to go for the win. So he charges a general in the rear of my general's unit. Otherwise, he is just kind of messing around. And of course, yeah, he has a charge, a rear, and so he killed my champion with only 1 wound, but he rolled 3 on the D3, and we weren't sure if you could get overkill using multiple wounds when you only did 1 wound. So either I was going to need a 7 or a 5, and it didn't matter because I rolled 8 or higher twice, and he ran me down. Of course he ran me down. I couldn't get away. That would be just impossible to actually get away from something. So that sucks. Yeah, not a whole lot going on here. I still have my Knights Errant. They're going after a table corner. I've got my Grail Reliquary. He still has a Hydra, his Sisters of Slaughter, his BSB, his Master. No, he doesn't have his Master. He has his General. Yeah, charges his Dark Riders into the Grail Reliquary. Let's see if they can kill another unit of Fast Cav, and they can't, but they stay alive. I forgot what I got this game, but it was a big loss. I mean, I got... yeah, I don't know what I got. I just no recollection whatsoever. Big win for my opponent. So for the tournament, I ended up having 3 wins and 2 losses. And for that, I actually tied with my opponent in this game and one other guy for 3rd overall. And then there are tiebreakers by battle points. So I jumped down from 3rd overall. I ended up getting 3rd place best general. So I was happy enough with that after having such a poor performance that last game. Overall, a really fun tournament. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of back and forths, a lot of unusual things happening. Every game was a lot of fun. Yeah, really can't complain one bit. So anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.